Food insecurity, and I know that word doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people. I've never gone 3 days without eating, but it's horrible. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, not being able to eat for multiple days at a time. It's a desperate situation. You can't do anything else in life until you get food.
I think that a lot of people don't understand. They hear 15% raise in the COVID benefits for food stamps, and they think it's a few dollars. How can that be an impact? And for people, an extra $50 or $100 a month, that means fresh fruits and vegetables instead of canned or frozen. That means meats purchases. That means all of those things. And when you're not worrying about food, you have the ability to worry about other things.
During COVID, SNAP really stepped in to support families who are struggling with food insecurity in a way I think that it never has before. Certainly in history, when we have had other financial crises like the 2008 financial collapse, there was increase in SNAP during that time, but it wasn't sustained, in the way that it was this time. So we saw 3 increases to the SNAP program in the past year. And it really made a difference for families to be able to go where they want, to purchase their food and buy what they want for their families. Food is nutrition. And when people are healthier, right, those long-term expenses that we see, right, we see this influx of lots of different health-related disease. And the price tag for that is way more than supporting people with the right foods that can support their nutrition and their health.
It's a whole new world. It's being able to buy the foods that we want, healthy foods. I don't buy a lot of junk food. Like you saw with Callie, she went for the carrots. It's getting the foods that you need to be healthy. Because without the healthy foods, your body isn't healthy. And then that causes more problems. And then it goes into the medical field.
We're operating on really outdated numbers that, like our poverty threshold right now, was put in place in the 60s, 1964. So what it meant to live in poverty in 1964 is so radically different than it is now. And so we're working with outdated systems and policies and structures. And so to try to break out of poverty, the second you make $4 above that poverty threshold, you're automatically disqualified for having benefits like the SNAP program or TANF or WIC. We're trapping people, right, into this system to keep relying, and then we blame them for it and we shame them for it. So we have to just create a better real path to get out of that.
I'm Joe Ryan, Executive Director of AIO Food and Energy Assistance in Rockland, Maine. At AIO, food and energy assistance is a little different than most food pantries, but because we're in Maine and energy insecurity goes hand in hand with food insecurity, and we can't be treating one problem without the other. So we combine the two of them and provide assistance that helps people make ends meet. As a food pantry, we are thought of as the first line of defense in food insecurity. However, there are so many other programs available, and particularly the SNAP program, which is the most effective, the most dignified program available to help people who are suffering from food insecurity, because it allows them to go shopping. It allows them to go grocery shopping and choose the foods that are right for their family, that are culturally relevant for them, that is in the right amount of food for them. So the SNAP program is so important in providing that. As a food pantry, we are the safety net behind that. The SNAP program may not provide everything a family can need, but it's certainly a huge assistance.
The increase that they put in for the pandemic, EBT, was super helpful. They took all of the money that would have, or that was also going into the school system, and turned it around and gave it to the parents who are now cooking those meals at home. They reimbursed daily for both lunch and breakfast for kids. And that was additional funds that went on there. And I remember checking my card the day I knew it was going to hit, and just a huge sigh of relief, because it went from, okay, I think I might have enough if I go to the food bank in between to get us through with the school lunches, to, oh, hamburgers on sale this week. I can stock up on hamburgers so I can have it going forward, rather than, this week it's $2.99, in another week it's going to be $3.99 or $4.99. I can budget better if I can spend that money this week and have those extra funds. And I know a lot of people that shared very similar stories with me about that too, of they were going and buying large meat quantities. They were going and buying a lot more fruits and vegetables because it was May and June when those hit of 2020, and it was prime farmers market time and everything else. So people went from, if I buy the most calories for the least amount of money, to, look, we have apples, we have berries, we have, lettuce that was grown up the road. That's a big difference in what's going into people, both for nutrition, but also for mentality. You're not eating the strawberries that went on clearance that you can kind of make something with. You're eating the ones that were grown by your neighbor.
SNAP 1 gives people financial freedom, choice and autonomy, right, in the foods that they choose. But those dollars then also, when they have dollars in hand, they go back into the local community. And so SNAP as an economic driver is a really important part of local, state, and eventually, the federal economy. So understanding that when people have money to spend, they're going to spend it within their communities. And when it's not there, those dollars are absent from our communities. So, especially here in Maine, when I think about, like small rural communities in Maine, every dollar matters. And if more people have money in their pocket, right, then you can see like that sort of lifts everything up.
They are trying to make choices, whether they get food, medicine, pay for their heat. You don't have to make that choice. There is no lack of food in the United States. No lack. There is a lack of volunteers to get it out in a timely fashion. This is all good food. It's high quality food. It's first quality food many of the times. And we just need to get the word out. Well, the Harrison Food Bank has really worked very hard, all of us and all the volunteers, to get the word out that we're doing this for the community. This is something we're doing to help everybody. This is free food that would otherwise get dumped.
Don't wait till you're desperate. We're here with food assistance, the SNAP program, the federal assistance. These are all programs available to you to help fight food insecurity and energy insecurity and housing costs and healthcare and so many other factors. Food insecurity is not a failure on their part. It's a failure on our part. As a society, it's a failure on our part. And what leads to food insecurity is the high cost of healthcare, the high cost of childcare, the high cost of housing, high cost of transportation, all of those things that you have no control over. You can't pay less rent. You can't pay less health insurance. You can't pay your childcare less. Those are all fixed costs. The only thing that you can ration is food.
We see the food network, the charitable food network in the state, as really vital to supporting communities, and yet that was never designed, right, to be the front line against hunger or chronic hunger. So we really need to see an increase with the SNAP program more permanently, so that the charitable food network can function in the way that it was designed to function, and so families can have the financial freedom to support their families and feed their families.
Food pantries can continue to be here as a safety net below that, but the real impact, the real solution to food insecurity in Knox County, in Maine, and in the United States is the SNAP program.